Hey guys, it's Vince over at CG Vinyl Studio. Today I want to discuss a new substrate I'm really excited about releasing. It's been around in the commercial inkjet printing industry for some time, but just hasn't been openly available for personal inkjet use up until today. The substrate I'm talking about is gloss polypropylene. Now, if you've done any Google media research for inkjet printing, you're going to find tons of different matte choices, but when it comes to gloss, high resolution, photorealistic effect type choices, you just don't have many. We do offer a gloss vinyl, which is a similar product to this. The biggest variations to this as compared to general vinyl is durability. This is a plastic. Polypropylene is actually a plastic-based substrate. And again, this is about 7.5 thousandths in thickness with the backing. A unique feature about polypropylene is that the backing on it is actually totally clear. So if you do contour cutting, you're going to be left basically with a clear image that you can actually apply to the substrate with the graphic in place to give you a simulated effect of what it would look like applied to the actual substrate that you're intending it for. It's a very neat feature. Customers love it. Another really interesting thing about this is the gloss factor. If you look at the light reflection that I'm going through right here, you can see just how glossy this film is. It produces a more linear effect when printed on with higher grade printers. If your print head is an Epson, a Canon, an HP, and when I say higher grade, I'm talking probably in excess of $300, you're going to get some exceptional results. Lower grade printers are fine as well, but you might have to tweak some of your inkjet printer settings, and that's just, the normal fundamental routine when you're trying a new substrate. I will say that the compatibility with all aqueous as far as dye and pigment based is pretty much amazing. Again, there are some characteristics of this that you want to get used to, and that is that this is not nearly as flexible as general vinyl. If you're doing a lot of contour curves, this won't be the best substrate. However, if you're doing about up to 30 to 35 degree type curves, light curves, you're going to be just fine. I do recommend using an over laminate on all prints, especially polypropylene. You definitely will require an over laminate, whether it be a liquid form, being a paint clear coat, preferably acrylic UV protected, or if you want to go with a physical over laminate that we use, it works exceptionally well. The durability of this is amazing. It's a permanent grade adhesive, but exterior use says that it's repositionable for up to 6 months. I got to be honest with you guys, I don't find that to be true. I believe once you set this down, you're pretty much set to go. Certain substrates, you might get away with that. It is a very, very high density typed adhesive, so please keep that in mind when if you're doing any testing and applying it to different surfaces. It's just one of those things you really want to just pay attention to. To give you guys a better idea, we have a product here just to show you, and that's a paint splatter with the actual print on it, and you can see just how clear. And again, that's got fill work done to it. The texture of it's just amazing. It does, when it cuts, one of the things to keep in mind is that when it does cut, depending on the blade you're using, it leaves a very, 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 very fine stippling because it is a plastic grade product. But again, when it applies smooth as glass. Transfer tape applying is very, very simple. I do highly recommend, once again, it's mandatory to actually use a over laminate to protect the image, because again, we want to protect the ink. Just because the durability of the plastic is there does not mean that inkjet durability with ink is. It's not designed for that. So we always want to seal our imaging prior to doing transferring. But once again, if you wanted to create a high resolution image, you could see just how realistic. That's actually a candy green that was printed in a fill. You can see the lighting effect. It's just a very, very nice high resolution image. And again, from a distance, it actually almost looks like it's painted on. It's an amazing effect. The big thing here is that, again, you're looking at resolution. With matte vinyl, typically you just don't get the resolution. As you get closer to the image, it gets kind of blurred. It's excellent for general purpose use, but again, depending upon what kind of imaging you're going for, if you're doing high resolution imaging, which general pop imaging is for advertising, door displays, advertising displays, anything where graphics is really, really to be looked at, this is one substrate that cannot be avoided. And again, the only limitations you really have when you weed this, you definitely want to be cautious of bends. You want to make sure that you're almost as flat as possible because it will crease. Unlike vinyl, it's not as forgiving when we're actually anticipating a bend. So I would highly recommend using as minimal bends as possible when you're weeding. It's very gentle to remove from the backing. It's not like traditional vinyl where you need to actually increase the amount of force to actually pull the vinyl off. It's a very smooth application. So once again, you guys can see the difference. I think here it's a night and day difference. If you were looking at matte vinyl, if you have any experience with matte vinyl, you'll notice that it'll look similar at a distance. As soon as you get close with matte, you can start seeing that the texture just starts changing. Even if you do set up your printer settings and play with the actual printer driver, you can get it pretty close, but it just doesn't have that reflective capability of gloss substrate. Gloss really just makes your imaging pop. Again, if you're using a high quality overlaminate, exterior use on this is pretty amazing. I mean, again, manufacturer claims that 6 months is applicable for removal. I'm telling you that from my testing, I have not seen that. I have done personal testing where I've seen this actual substrate underwater, actually dispersed underwater for over a period of a week, and that substrate will not be removed, or excuse me, the graphic won't be removed from the substrate. So again, we're talking underwater use. That's just incredible bonding power, and I'm telling you, it does have a commercial grade adhesive. This is not garbage. It's an amazing substrate. If you're looking for high-res graphical imaging and you're looking for that photorealistic effect, I would definitely say to purchase one of the sample packs. Try it against regular vinyl, see what you like. A lot of people are going with this. Since I've got it in, I've been lucky enough to have a couple extra rolls. The manufacturer I worked out a plan with, because it just seems to fly off the shelf once people are comparing it to general vinyl. Again, the thickness is very, very thin. It flattens almost instantaneously. It's just a really easy to work material once you understand its limitations. But again, the mandatory factor, and I cannot emphasize this enough, you guys need an overlaminate. Clear coat, we are about to release a new imported clear coat. It's actually designed in the automotive industry for protecting headlamps from yellowing. It's an amazing product. It's probably one of the only designs I've ever seen that's actually designed for protecting headlights at that kind of durability level. On top of the fact, it's got a commercial grade nozzle that will actually produce HVLP type applications. No spitting, won't destroy your imaging. And again, we're really working on trying to release a more pro-grade system for protecting your graphics on top of the physical laminations that we already offer. So if you guys have any questions about this, I hope you'll message me. Again, I work with my girlfriend Joanna. If you guys do have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. I am an engineer, so I can answer most questions. Some things I need to actually go back to the manufacturer, but overall this is a product that I've worked with for many years, so most of the time I can answer them directly. Once again, I thank you for your time, and I hope this has been informative. Take care.